Quang. Once again, he fell while trying to help Linda fix the house. But unlike before this time, it feels a lot more serious. At first, everyone thought it was just a simple stumble. But the closer you look, the more worrying it becomes. Linda's panicked eyes, the sound of her quick, shaky breaths, and suddenly, the whole room holds its breath too. Is this just a minor accident? Or a turning point that could change everything? Details you'd never expect, things that seemed random, will slowly uncover a much bigger secret. And it's all about to be revealed in the next few seconds. Don't look away, because the answer is guaranteed to shock you right up until the very last moment. After the storms finally started to fade, Quang and Linda's life slowly settled back into a calmer rhythm. Quang drove out to a construction site where he bought some leftover bricks that were still in good shape. People watched him. His frame looked a little thin, but his eyes showed nothing but determination. He didn't mind the heavy work. He bent down, picked up each brick, and stacked them neatly into the back of his truck. The clinking sounds of the bricks mixed with his heavy breathing, forming a strange rhythm, almost like his heart was pushing him to move faster, to be stronger. By the time the last brick was loaded, his shirt was soaked with sweat. Quang wiped his forehead quickly and gave a small, relieved smile. But he knew the job wasn't done. The road to Linda's house was too narrow for the truck. He would have to find another way. When he reached the alley, he saw the winding, narrow path, barely wide enough for a motorbike. Quang sighed, but he didn't give up. He opened the trunk, carefully moved the bricks into old sacks, and tied them up. Each sack was painfully heavy, but he never complained. His eyes showed nothing but patience, as if repeating silently to himself, "For Linda, I have to do this." He strapped the sacks onto his motorbike, took a deep breath, and started the engine. The road was slick from the rain puddles, reflecting the shaky shadows of trees. Quang rode slowly, steadying the handlebars, trying to keep his balance. Then, the worst happened. As he turned a tight corner, the front wheel slipped on the muddy ground. In an instant, the bike wobbled, the heavy sacks of bricks pulling it off balance. With a loud crash, the whole thing toppled. Bricks scattered across the narrow road, clattering as they hit the ground. Quang groaned, trying to push himself up, but sharp pain shot through his body. His knee was scraped, his palms bleeding from the rough pavement. He tried to stand, but his legs shook too hard to hold him. For a moment, despair flashed in his eyes, but then Linda's image came to him. Her small figure, her gentle smile, the way her eyes lit up with trust whenever she looked at him. That thought gave him strength. Gritting his teeth, Quang forced himself back to his feet. Every step felt like 1,000 needles stabbing into his skin, but he refused to collapse. He bent down, lifted one of the heavy sacks onto his shoulder, and pushed forward. Sweat poured down his face, mixing with the dirt on his skin. His back bent under the weight, but his feet kept moving step by step toward Linda's little home. The sound of his footsteps, the heavy rhythm of his breathing, echoed through the empty alley. Every sound was a reminder he wasn't just carrying bricks. He was carrying hope. He was carrying the dream of peace and safety for the woman he loved. Quang walked heavily up to Linda's porch. At last, the sack of bricks on his shoulder was set down with a loud thud, closing a hard journey, but also bringing him a sense of relief. He bent over, breathing hard, then slowly looked up. In front of him was Linda, the woman who had been on his mind through every difficult step. His eyes softened, full of love. Just seeing her standing there, watching him with worry, made every scrape, every sharp sting in his knees and hands feel like nothing. He smiled a simple, warm smile. Linda rushed over. Her eyes watered as she looked him over from head to toe. His clothes were covered in mud, his hands scratched and bleeding sweat dripping from his forehead. The sight made her heart ache. "Oh my God, Quang, what happened to you?" Her voice shook. Quang shook his head gently, trying to reassure her. "It's just from falling off the bike. I'm fine. It's only a few scratches." But Linda wasn't convinced. She held his hand, her fingers trembling as they brushed against the bleeding cuts. "Does it hurt? Why didn't you call me? Why do you always push yourself like this?" Quang looked at her with gentle eyes. He winced from the pain, but his voice stayed soft. "For you. I can do anything. As long as you're happy, as long as you feel safe in this house, none of this matters to me." Linda fell silent, her heart torn between sorrow and warmth. She knew every word came straight from his heart. They sat together on the small wooden bench outside the porch. The evening breeze carried the smell of damp earth after the rain. Sparrows chirped on the roof, as if trying to ease the tension. Linda quickly went inside, poured a glass of cool water, and placed it in his hand. "Drink this. It'll help you recover." Quang took it. His hand shook, but his eyes stayed on her, filled with gratitude and tenderness. He drank slowly, feeling the cool water soothe his throat, then smiled. "Thank you, Linda. Just sitting here next to you." All the tiredness disappears. When he finished, he stood up and went to the water tap in the corner of the yard. Carefully, he washed the dirt off his hands. The cold water stung his cuts, making him flinch, but he didn't care. In front of Linda, he wanted to look steady and strong, no matter the pain. Linda watched quietly. Every small movement of his made her chest tighten. She knew he never complained, never showed his real pain. And because of that, her heart ached even more. Every fall, every injury, he took them all just to give her a better life. "Quang?" Her voice trembled. "It hurts me so much. Because of me, you keep getting hurt over and over. I don't want to see you in pain anymore." Quang turned back his eyes, gentle but firm like the evening wind. He walked closer, placed his wet hand still dripping with water on her shoulder, and smiled softly. "Linda, you don't understand. Being able to do something for you for this home, that's my joy. That's what makes me feel alive. Just seeing you smile makes every bit of pain worth it." Linda's tears welled up. She reached out to wipe the dirt from his face and whispered, "You always think about me, but have you ever thought about yourself?" Quang chuckled lightly, his voice warm. "Of course I have. I've thought that the happiest I can ever be is when I can make you happy." In that moment, time seemed to stop. Just the two of them sitting together in the quiet evening. The little wooden bench on the porch became something sacred, a place where true words were spoken, where two hearts drew closer than ever. Linda rested her head gently on Quang's shoulder. She could hear his steady heartbeat mixed with the sound of the wind moving through the trees. In that moment, every storm outside seemed to disappear. all that was left was something simple love. As the sun set, golden light spread across the bricks, still covered in dust. The glow wrapped around them, making everything feel unusually warm. In the distance, the lights inside the house slowly came on, signaling a peaceful night ahead. Softly, Linda whispered, "If I could, I'd want days like this to last forever." Quang squeezed her hand gently and nodded. He didn't say more, but his eyes spoke for him, and so under the fading sunset, they sat side by side at peace content, waiting for tomorrow, where their love story would continue to be written.